In today's video, we talk about what is going on over at the Xbox Game Studios. These constant departures are causing a lot of stress for those in the community, as well as we talk about Game Pass and how it's more than likely not going to get a price increase. All that and more on this week's dashboard. What is going on, guys? I'm Duncan Bitta over at My Xbox Me, where we give you the breakdown on everything that's going on in the Xbox ecosystem. So if you do like that and you do want to stay informed each and every week, be sure to hit that subscribe button. That way you get the latest and greatest in the Xbox world. Now, hopping right into our first story, what is going on over at the Xbox Game Studios? So now we have word that Chris Lee, top director for Halo Infinite at 343 Studios, has just departed the project. Now, while he is still employed at Microsoft, he is no longer part of the Halo Infinite team. Now, this comes after the numerous delays and the setbacks, the community management about how the game doesn't look up to spec, and so on and so on. Now, the real question is, what state is Halo Infinite even in? Now, Microsoft has done a fantastic job at communicating with its player base in order to make sure that everyone's informed and latest and greatest and any setbacks, and the transparency has been amazing. But what we don't have a clear understanding of is if Halo Infinite is truly going to release next year. I mean, at this point, it was supposed to release with the console, and it got pushed back, and we all understood. And there was this messaging that Halo Infinite just needed some minor touch-ups after the feedback from the gameplay reveal. Sounds great, right? But now with the top director also taking a step back, it leaves us worried a little bit. Now with Halo Infinite, unfortunately, it can't come out and be just another Halo game. It has to be the Halo game. We're talking about the Series X, we're talking about the icon of the Xbox. Halo Infinite has to come out and astonish, and it's not fair, but unfortunately, that's the responsibility that falls on this game. Now, with the top director leaving and the community not loving the way the gameplay looked at the gameplay reveal, as well as these setbacks, it's making me a little bit nervous. It really is. And now, I'm not nervous for the Series X. Series X is gonna be fine. Game Pass, we've seen the games, there's gonna be plenty to play, and I'm not worried about that at all. Xbox has a studio, so don't get it twisted. I'm not worried about the Series X. It's going to be completely fine with or without Halo. I stand by that. Now, if this Halo does not come out and astonish, I think this will be the start of when Halo starts to fizzle out as a franchise. And it may not disappear altogether, but I do think that the mascot is going to shift to one of their other games. And I don't want to see that. I loved Halo. I've always enjoyed Halo. I do want this to be the Halo to rule it all. Now, not quite done with Xbox Game Studios, switching over to Rare this time, creative director Simon Woodroffe has also left Everwild. Now, the reason why this is a problem is because Everwild is another game that just hasn't quite established what it is yet, or what it's supposed to be, what the gameplay loop is about. We've only seen a little things here and there, and for the creative director to take a step back, once again, makes me a little bit nervous. I know Xbox is trying to come out of the gate swinging with these games in their studios. So to hear these headlines about directors stepping back and delays, let's be honest, it makes us nervous. It makes us nervous as part of the Xbox community, mainly because the last generation, the main issue was with the games. Now, this time Xbox is trying to get ahead of it, getting the studios out there, getting the games out there, but we're just getting slammed with these bad news. Now, maybe this is all just this recent week. Maybe it's not gonna turn into anything major. Maybe this was for the better. Who knows? Between Chris Lee as well as Simon Woodroffe, it's hard to say that if this was for the better, if this was for the worse. We don't really know all the details surrounding this yet. So at the end of the day, all that we can do is hold out hope for a solid gameplay experience. Now, moving on to the second story, and this one's more good news. In a conversation with Phil Spencer, it was reported that Game Pass, where it is sustainable, completely sustainable. Now, why is this important? Mainly because everyone knows Game Pass has been one of the best value for gaming since the Orange Box. Let's be real, you're getting tons and tons of games and Xbox first-party games, day and date of release, all for one low cost every month. Now, this is awesome. But the reason why this was worrisome was because since Game Pass is such a great value, a lot of people will worry that the prices are just gonna go up over time. The same way Netflix has done, same way Hulu has done, same way that pretty much every streaming service has done. It just keeps raising the price. Why? Because they feel the value of the product is worth the price that they're charging. Now, for a lot of us, we see Game Pass as way more valuable than what they're actually charging for it. Don't tell them that. Which is why we're all worried about a price hike. It makes sense, but with Phil Spencer stating that, hey, it's sustainable as it is, it at least gives us hope. Now, of course, there's no guarantee that the prices are going to stay the same. That's why they're not stating that directly. If the team over at Xbox was really convinced that the prices of Game Pass are going to remain the same forever, they would state outright. But the reason why they don't say things like that, and instead it's sustainable, or we're looking at the profits and they're great, etc., is so that they have that wiggle room later on down the road. Next up, story number 3. Now this one's kind of a follow-up story to a previous thing we reported on about 2 weeks ago when we were talking about Elder Scrolls being potentially exclusive on the Series X. Todd Howard, in a recent interview, agreed with the notion that it'd be hard to imagine a world where Elder Scrolls 6 is exclusive to Microsoft platforms. Now, while that does not mean that it won't be or that it will be, Todd Howard kind of smiled when the statement was put out there and agreed with it. It does state that as of right now, it doesn't seem like there's any intentions, unless he's purposely being cheeky, to have the Elder Scrolls series exclusive to the Microsoft platforms. Now, this isn't really a bad thing or a good thing, like I was saying before. This is, however, if true, a loss of a power move. You want to show the value of Game Pass, you want to show the value of the Xbox ecosystem, so the main thing you're going to do is put your powerhouses forward and say, hey, you can only play them over here, as well as you'll have the best experience over here. So to kind of release that on PlayStation platforms and other platforms in general, it kind of lowers that power move. But once again, we don't know if this is true, we don't know if this is not, and we don't know going forward what the plan may be. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day, as long as people get to enjoy what they want to enjoy. However, we do want to see Xbox thrive. Let's be honest with ourselves. Now moving on to story number 4. Speaking of thriving, more good news. Xbox backwards compatibility system is pretty much complete. They acknowledge that all games, with the exception of Kinect games, and honestly, if you're really looking forward to playing some Kinect on your Series X, then you're a special kind of person, and I respect that. But all games, excluding the Kinect enabled games, are backwards compatible with the Xbox Series S, Xbox Series X. Now this is great news. Mainly because you want to make sure that your library never disappears. We love games. We have memories tied to those games. Sometimes it's not about playing through an entire game to 100% again. Sometimes it is about just reliving some of those old memories for maybe 45 minutes, 1 hour, and knowing that you can go back to any time in your gaming history on the Xbox systems and kind of relive those. It's fun. And for the final story today, this one's just a bit of fun, honestly. Xbox has been doing a fantastic job with their recent ad campaign for their Power Your Dreams, Power Your Memes, with showing the Xbox Series X fridge that they're now giving away. On top of that, they did a collaboration with Snoop Dogg and his Series X fridge. It's a fantastic promotion. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. On top of that, you have a chance to win that Xbox Series X fridge. Who doesn't want that? That's just cool. No pun intended, or pun intended. Keep the pun in there. I like it. Well, that's all we have for this week's episode. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well as that bell notification. That way you can stay informed about any Xbox news coming forward in the future. Also, we want to hear about your comments on the video. Anything we talk about, the discussion below. Are you worried about Halo Infinite? Are you worried about Everwild? Do you think Xbox has a problem with its Xbox Game Studios? Or is this just bad timing about everything? Leave them all down below so that way we can get that feedback. So until next time, be pretty.